would be coming to doing so many future virtual programs, but it really is an amazing platform to be able to share so much information. And I see some people on here that I know, so I'm really happy to have you on here and welcome all of the new faces. So what relevant topic to talk about than nutrition and immunity, especially with everything that's going on. So there's a lot of information to share, but just a little bit about myself. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist, and I am currently studying this week, next week, probably the week after that, and preparing myself to take the exam to become an integrative and functional nutrition practitioner. It's a mouthful, but it's super exciting, and I can't wait to be able to share all of the knowledge and wealth of information that I've been learning over the course of the last couple of years, and to be able to put some of that in practice. So hence why it says soon to be, because I am actually not certified yet, but that is very exciting, and I am really just focusing on going through stacks upon stacks upon stacks of information and studying. So wish me luck. I need it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove my face so you don't get distracted from me and that you are able to pay attention to the actual slides. So I'm just going to put that off to the side. It gives me a bigger view to see my own screen here. And we're going to jump right in. So let's see. Why is this not going? There we go. All right, so today the overview of what we're going to talk about is learning the importance of building resilience with the food first approach to reduce the risk of impaired immune health, and identify some nutrients present in whole foods that support optimal immunity, and hopefully give you some inspiration for what you can do to make healthy changes in your diet and your lifestyle. And then really essentially the foundation of this presentation is really a foundation of a healthy diet and lifestyle, with clarification given the topic of interest in what's going on in today's world with COVID-19. I do want to share that the information I am bringing forth, isn't in relation to preventing COVID-19. There's obviously so much information that we don't know about the current pandemic. So I'm going to try my hardest to just focus primarily on basic immune health, but with a little bit more in-depth view of that. So if you've been reading and researching at all about how to boost your immune system and COVID-19 or anything to do with immune health to current date, and you were to start Googling and researching, you're going to find a few key words that pop up, and resiliency is one of those words. So there's a flurry of information out there about the pandemic and what we can do to stay well. So when situations get complicated, I really like to just turn to the basics. And while there's much talk about the different nutrients in isolation, like vitamin D and zinc and others like dietary supplements, we don't want to forget the one big principle of wellness, and it's food first. So you can take all the dietary supplements there are out there, but if you don't have nutritional resilience from a healthy foundation eating plan, a dietary supplement is essentially a drop in the ocean of your own being. So with of one that we're going to touch base on. So you can see here on the screen, there's a definition of kind of what resilience does, and it allows your body to remain in a state of health to recover more quickly after exposure to a virus, detrimental bacteria or toxin. And our mental health and immune system are dependent on a strong and resilient microbiome. So I'm not sure if any of you have heard that your gut is your second brain, but it is true. The cornerstone of your immune system is your gut. The idea of boosting your immune system is alluring, but the ability to do so has proven difficult for multiple reasons. So the immune system is a system, it is not a single entity, and there is no one single solution. To function well, your immune system requires a balance of harmony in your gut. Over 70% of your immune system cells are connected to your digestive tract. Healing your gut is the most important step to protecting yourself against viruses and harmful bacteria. Your intestines are home to 10 times more microorganisms than the human cells in the entire body. So when balanced, your intestinal microflora, your gut, fights off those harmful bacteria that cause illness. So resilience is, like I said, one of the foundational components to a healthy gut ecosystem. The gut microbiota, which can also be referred to, is very diverse and varies between individuals and can change over time, especially during early stages of development and disease progression. With that said, trillions of microbes inhabit the intestine and form complex ecological community that influence both the normal psychology and the susceptibility to disease. It's important to consume primarily, right, when we talk about how to eat, it's primarily a whole food, phytonutrient-rich diet full of plant-based foods, mostly vegetables, non-starchy vegetables, but fruits and vegetables, fiber, lean protein, a balance of healthy fat, specifically those omega-3 fatty rich foods, and adequate hydration. And it's important to obviously note that a balanced lifestyle with quality sleep, physical activity, and decreased stress levels all play a role. So just as a quick little refresher, each of these mechanisms are designed to trap foreign material and wash or move it out of the body, right? You have these frontline defenses as part of your immune system, your skin and your mucous membranes, and they contain natural biochemicals like the gastric acid in your stomach and sweat and saliva, all of those things that help to inhibit the growth of or destroy microorganisms. Again, when you start researching boosting your immune system, you're going to find the word innate immune. The innate immune response is the first response to an invading pathogen, virus, bacteria, or microorganism, or an injury. So an example of an innate immune response is you catch a cold and your body's innate immune response causes you to develop a runny nose, a cough, or itchy eyes. You're also going to find not only do you have an innate immune response, but an adaptive immune response. And there's a fun little picture on the screen here that shows the virus and how it will create it will recognize the pathogen and remember by creating antigens and building antibodies when exposed. So if you really start doing your research, you're going to find those words, and that's just a quick little snippet of what that means. So an example of an adaptive immune response would be if you were exposed to the chickenpox virus, for example. The innate response is followed by the remembered immunity, and so then you're not going to actually get that specific virus again. So the majority of the immune cells in the body are located within the GALT, what we call GALT, and that stands for gut-associated lymphoid tissue. The tissue is located in the inner mucosal layer, and it communicates regularly with the nearby gut microbiome located in the digestive tract. So while GALT and your immune system reside in the same area in your digestive tract, there may be cases where the GALT immune cells come into direct contact with the gut microbiota or nutrients, for example, leaky gut, if you've heard that term. But the gut microbiome plays an important role in the development and maintenance of GALT. The food we ingest and the environmental factors have the ability to change the composition of the gut microbiome over time, favorably or unfavorably, and key dietary components play a favorable role in the gut microbiome include probiotics and prebiotics. So to optimize that GALT functioning, we must pay attention to the health of our gut microbiome. Before I jump into that, I think it's important to just lay the land out here with nutrient density, right? Every time you put something in your mouth, we really want it to be nutrient dense so that you're optimizing the nutrition that you get from the food that you're eating. So when it comes to immunological outcomes, optimal nutrition supports the function of those immune cells and then in response to pathogens and inflammation. Single micronutrients can exert multiple diverse immunological effects on the body, but excessive intake of some nutrients can be associated with impaired immune response. So check with a healthcare provider before you start taking any type of supplements. You want to make sure that you check with your healthcare provider. And then here you see on the screen some of the micronutrients that we're going to talk about that play an important role. So just to kind of go over a few, iron, it's essential for growth of epithelial tissues. Vitamin A and zinc are important for the immune cells and the mucosal cells. Vitamin D and zinc are extremely important. And we're going to get into a little bit more of that in just a moment here. I think it's also important to note that when exposed to a pathogen, the body may actually lose some micronutrients, and some of the ones that could actually be utilized by an infection include things like vitamins A, vitamin C, vitamin E, calcium, zinc, and iron. And they can cause the immune system to become increasingly active. So here, I really like this phytonutrient spectrum handout. It shows the rainbow of different colors that should be on your plate. So a challenge I have for you, there's going to be a few challenges I have for you over the course of this presentation, but one of them is to take a look at this and pick out a few things that you don't normally eat. Maybe it's a specific color that you don't normally find on your plate, and incorporate it, buy it, and figure out a way to incorporate it into your diet. We want to have a wide diversity of colorful fruits and veggies, and that we maximize the phytonutrients that we're consuming. So we all can do better with diversifying the colors in our diet. So eat the rainbow, right? Not eat the rainbow of Skittles, but eat the rainbow of fruits and vegetables. Fruits rich in antioxidants, and vegetables are rich in antioxidants. I just happened to name a few there. These are pictures of meals and things that I typically eat on a regular basis. Breakfast for me includes eggs and some chard, some Swiss chard, some salsa, some sweet potato, and a little dollop of some hummus on top. So maybe ramp up your breakfast. Most people don't eat vegetables at breakfast, so that's a great way to incorporate some more vegetables. You can see that beautiful, colorful salad there in the middle with chickpeas and pumpkin seeds as a source of fiber and protein. And then sheet pans of roasted veggies. Anything your heart desires, you can pretty much roast or you can steam. And those veggies can be thrown into a power bowl where you can mix and match different flavor profiles. So getting into the habit of making sure that you have veggies on hand, whether it's steamed, cooked, or raw, ready to go, makes it really easy to get in all of those colors. I always like to mention, use parchment paper for easy cleanup. If you're not using parchment paper, I really feel like you should start, because it just makes cleanup and meal prep a breeze. I love this picture. This is so fun to do with kids, or, you know, heck, your husband or your wife or your friends, to have a rainbow cauliflower crust pizza. I mean, look how beautiful that is. You've got all of the colors in there. And so maybe you have a little inspiration here the next time you decide to cook some pizza, you make it look like a rainbow. Here's another challenge I have for you. So watercress and bok choy are extremely nutrient dense. So they're often overlooked, and a lot of people don't generally incorporate bok choy or watercress on a regular basis. But as you can see here on the screen, the nutrition that they pack is astounding. So a challenge for you is pick and choose watercress or bok choy, or both, and incorporate them into your diet over the next week or two. I love watercress, and I'd like to turn it into a pesto. It's pretty bitter as compared to most, so if you're not used to eating more bitter greens, then turning into a pesto is a great way to incorporate it. And then bok choy, I like to steam and throw into a stir fry. But you've got now 2 challenges, okay? You've got a dark green, nutrient-dense green vegetable, and then you've got a challenge to take a look at that colorful phytonutrient spectrum chart and to incorporate some more vegetables. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into talking about some important pieces to the puzzle, whether it's for immune health or really any type of nutrition talk. I'm going to talk about prebiotics and I'm going to talk about probiotics. They are absolutely important. So prebiotics are basically the food for the probiotics in your digestive system. They're fiber rich and they help flourish as food for those probiotics to thrive. When probiotics break down the prebiotics in the colon, they produce butyric acid, which is a short chain fatty acid, which fuels the digestive cells and protects the digestive tract from harmful bacteria. So you can see on the screen a list of some of the most rich prebiotic foods. Again, you may be incorporating some of these things on a regular basis, but find something on there that you don't normally eat and incorporate it. Probably tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some jarred artichokes and I'm going to mix it with some spinach and lots of garlic and a little bit of olive oil, and I'm going to use that for a base on a pizza. So, you know, you don't have to eat them whole. You don't even have to put it on your pizza, whole. You could turn it into almost like a pesto and use that as a sauce. So just a little idea there that I thought about today. I said, oh, I'm gonna make a artichoke and spinach pesto version for a top of a pizza. So for probiotics, I think most people kind of have a pretty good foundation of what probiotics are, but most people really aren't consuming adequate amounts of quality probiotics in the diet, unfortunately. But they're the good bacteria that reside in your digestive tract, which you can replenish through your food sources. You have to replenish them through your food source, which, as you can see on the screen, the sources of probiotics. Oh, there it is. I didn't think I put yogurt on the list. It's at the bottom there. Yogurt is the #1 probiotic food that most people consume on a regular basis. A lot of people are not consuming kimchi or sauerkraut or fermented vegetables or the brine from, sauerkraut, but they really, really have such wonderful properties and should be a practice that everybody is working to incorporate on a daily basis. So here is an example of some fermented foods that you can buy at the grocery store. You've got a whole list there of different krauts and like the mother-in-law kimchi, the Cleveland kraut, there's the Bubby's brand, which I don't think I have on here. There's the Ozook brand, which are all very high quality refrigerated versions of fermented foods. If you're buying the shelf stable sauerkraut, for example, that's been pasteurized and all of those probiotics have been heated, so they no longer contain those beneficial probiotic bacteria. So that wouldn't be a great choice. But you can see on there's some kombucha, which essentially is a soda substitution. All kombucha contains sugar, which is needed for the fermentation process, but it can be a better for you beverage that has a nutritional and health benefit. And I'm partial to the Aquavitae brand. They're 100% certified organic, and the sugar that they use to ferment that specific brand is from real fruit. It's not from cane sugar. And they generally are lower in overall sugar as compared to many other brands. And I just think that they're absolutely flavorful as compared to many of the other ones as well. The wild brine probiotic spicy kimchi sriracha is one of my personal favorite condiments. I love to add it onto like avocado toast or over some sliced cucumbers, or even, you know, like a salmon veggie rice bowl with a little drizzle of that over the top. It gives a nice little spicy kick if that's your jam, with the nutritional benefit of the probiotics from the pureed kimchi. So that is fantastic. And then kimchi, if you're not used to having kimchi, a great way to add that to your diet is, you know, if you're cooking like a stir fry. I know a lot of people love stir fries. Once you cook the stir fry, you could take some kimchi and just throw that in at the end. It's a great way to add it in. You don't want to heat it because it has the probiotics, so just adding it in once it's all been cooked is great. And then for any of the krauts, if you don't generally eat sauerkraut, hey, why not try it at breakfast with some scrambled eggs and some spinach as a way to incorporate more nutrient-dense foods into your diet. Okay, moving along to vitamin D. All right, so vitamin D is critical for immune health, and a deficiency in this nutrient can compromise the immune response or increase your risk of infection or disease. It has antiviral, antimicrobial, and pro-hormone properties that have shown to protect against upper respiratory infections by calming a pathogen and fight against the bacteria and viruses. That's just a small benefit to vitamin D. Vitamin D is unfortunately often wildly deficient in most people who live in New England. So I highly suggest that you get tested to see what your vitamin D levels are, and most likely you'll find out that you're probably on the lower side and you would need to supplement, because vitamin D, technically it's actually not really a vitamin. It is a hormone, and you get it from the sunshine. You get it from being outside and getting it from sunlight, right? So we all know that that's the sunshine vitamin, and we're in summertime now, so getting some sun exposure, 15 minutes a day on your face and your arms should be plenty. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. So in the summertime, getting lots of sunlight, you help to boost up your levels and store those levels to get you through the winter season here in New England. Now, you see here on the left-hand side of the screen, there's some list of sources of where you can get vitamin D in the diet. It's very difficult to get vitamin D in the diet. You can get it from wild-caught fish, like salmon, pasture-raised eggs, not regular eggs, but pasture-raised eggs, beef liver, cod liver oil, some mushrooms, and then, you know, fortified foods. I have there a picture of a supplement. It's by Nutritional Roots, and you see there it says vitamin D3 plus K2. I'm not going to go into too detail because we don't have time, but one of the missing nutrients from a lot of bone health and also vitamin D supplements is vitamin K2. We now know that vitamin K2 is needed to help with bone health and the absorption of vitamin D3. So that you'll start to see more supplements that have vitamin D3 in it also have vitamin K2. So that would be a pretty general good recommendation, is to make sure that your vitamin D supplement or your bone health supplement that you're taking has K2 in there. But of course, check with your doctor and make sure that you are taking the correct supplement based on your plan with your physician. I have so much I want to say about vitamin D, but I think that's all I'm going to share at this present moment. Moving on to vitamin C. We all know vitamin C as a powerful antioxidant, which supports both the innate and adaptive immune response, and it supports the body to curb the stress response. Clinical trials have found that adequate daily levels of vitamin C through food shortens the frequency, duration, and severity of the common cold and incidence of pneumonia. So it is a water-soluble vitamin, so you do need to replenish the amount of vitamin C that you are taking every single day, preferably through food sources, because with that food, you're also going to be getting a whole host of other phytonutrient chemicals. You're going to be providing your body with fiber as well. So load up on all sorts of vitamin C foods at all of your meals. What else did I want to say there? Guess that was it. Moving on to zinc, right? When we hear about immune health, zinc always pops up as it's a powerful antioxidant and it's required to activate certain immune cells. Sources of zinc are listed there on the screen. And a deficiency in zinc is associated with impaired immune function and increased risk of infections such as pneumonia in certain groups. So it is important to make sure that you're getting adequate amounts. One of my favorite things to snack on every day or incorporate it into a meal are pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are loaded with iron, zinc, magnesium, they have fiber, they have protein, they have good healthy fat, and you don't have to cook it, you don't have to think about it, all you have to do is pretty much open up a bag. So make sure that you're incorporating zinc daily. A lot of people do, you know, nowadays the plant-based diet is a huge focus for a lot of people. So a lot of people have been cutting out meat and beef, but know that grass-fed beef can fit into a healthy diet. And one of those main healthy properties to good quality grass-fed beef is the fact that it is loaded in zinc. So quercetin is a polyphenol derived from plants and has been shown to reduce inflammation and the incidence and severity of upper respiratory tract infections, and it provides the additional immune supporting effects when combined with vitamin C. So you can see a whole list there of foods that have adequate levels of quercetin. And the additional thing is that it is anti-inflammatory and it can help to, you know, reduce overall inflammation, quote unquote, you know, it helps to kill those cancer cells, control blood sugar, and help to reduce or prevent heart disease. So I have down here, I have a recipe that I make every week, and I'm going to share it with you at the end. And you see here, it says the highest concentration of quercetin is found in raw capers. And I love capers. I have a recipe that I make every week that I'm going to share with you. So there's another reason to have fun with throwing in some capers into your recipes. Can't talk about immune health without briefly touching upon tea, specifically green tea. So they contain flavonoids, which are antioxidants, and compounds known as catechins and epicatechins that are responsible primarily for the health benefit and the health effects of tea. L-theanine is an amino acid that is found in green tea, and very high levels of L-theanine in matcha tea, which is the ground and powdered form of green tea leaves. So it provides and promotes feeling of relaxation, and also I think it's, you know, it has this extremely strong property of relaxation, but the bonus is it doesn't make you drowsy. It just improves the quality of your sleep. So, you know, having some herbal teas, or specifically black tea, green tea on a daily basis is a great thing to do, especially in the summertime. You know, making a nice iced green tea version to sip on throughout the day. Now, keeping in mind it does have caffeine, not anywhere near as much as a cup of coffee, so you don't want to be consuming it late at night for that effect. Nobody wants to be kept up all night long from having too much caffeine late. But I say drink up your green tea. All right, so jumping into another key piece to an overall healthy diet where we're talking specifically about immune health. and inflammation is omega-3 fatty acids. Most people are not getting enough omega-3 fatty acids in your diet, or have an imbalance of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. So what we want to do is we really want to focus on boosting up those omega-3s, and you can do that by incorporating more wild-caught fish, or cold water fatty fish specifically, into your diet 2 to 4 times a week. The American Heart Association recommends twice a week. I say getting a variety and upping that is a benefit, along with some plant-based sources such as chia seeds and ground flax seeds and hemp seeds and walnuts, and one of my favorite cooking oils, which is Thrive algae oil. I know a few of you on here know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm a huge fan of Thrive algae oil for the fact that it has a high smoke point. So it's great for cooking at higher temp heats. It's very versatile in terms of the flavor profile, and it's loaded with omega-3 fatty acids, and it has 2 less grams of saturated fat than olive oil. So make algae oil a staple in your pantry. Here is a list of some omega-3 fatty acid rich fish. You can see on the far left-hand side are going to be the ones that pack the most punch for those omega-3 fatty acids. So take a look there. If one of the things that I would like to create for myself actually is a way to easily incorporate anchovies and sardines into this, an American standard diet. I think a lot of people are very scared about sardines and anchovies, but they're one of the smallest fish. So in terms of the heavy metal content of them and the nutritional benefit from those omega-3 fatty acids, those really are some really nutritious things we should all be eating. But not a lot of people like fish, unfortunately. And so I'm going to take it upon myself. One of my challenges is to find some creative recipes that the normal average Joe, I'd like to say, would enjoy eating. I think some of you that are on this call probably are a little bit more savvy when it comes to nutrition and healthy eating, hence why you're interested and made time out of your amazing day to spend some time with me talking about this. But if anybody has any ideas of what you can do with those 2 things, or have a tried and true recipe, I'd love to have it. And if you could share it with me, that would be fantastic. It'll help me with my challenge that I now have just given myself. Okay, moving on. Ginger root. Ginger is super powerful. It's got antimicrobial, antifungal, antiviral properties. You can buy it fresh and you can grate it into, a stir fry, a soup. You can put it in your water to make a tea. You can add it to smoothies. You can grate it into baked goods. You can make homemade dressings. You can have it with sushi. You could make a golden milk or steep it into some almond milk and add some spices. Maybe that's not as much of a hot weather type of option. But they do sell, if you're not somebody who wants to spend time in the kitchen and grate or peel, you can buy the frozen ginger cubes by the Dorrit brand that are sold in the frozen food department. I'm going to take a sip of water. Hold on. So, and they have some recipes on their website as well, so you can visit that website. So garlic is extremely immune boosting and heart healthy. So it's for centuries has been used to treat and prevent respiratory infections. And the key with garlic is that when you're using fresh, that you peel each clove and smash or chop it and allow it to sit for 10 to 15 minutes, because that allows the garlic to oxidize and increase those beneficial compounds. So even just 1 to 2 cloves of fresh garlic has those antimicrobial and gut-friendly boosting health benefits. And I do think that well, one of my favorite kitchen gadgets is a garlic press. And I know that some of us are time crunched and maybe you buy the jarred garlic, but I highly recommend against it. It's not the same. It doesn't taste the same. Health benefits aren't the same. Really buying fresh and chopping and peeling or smashing or mincing with the handy dandy tool of a garlic press really is worth the time and energy and benefit that you're going to get out of it. I created this handout here. This is a front and back. I'm going to make sure that all of you get a copy of this. Kind of goes over some of those benefits and a couple of my favorite recipes that I like to share. So that and I noticed this after the fact, so I apologize, but the walnut salsa verde recipe, it's supposed to have capers in it. And for some reason I left that out. That's a key piece to that. So just know capers are added to that with all of those fresh herbs, the garlic, the flax oil. You can substitute for Thrive algae oil or olive oil. That's perfectly fine, but you've got the walnuts and all those herbs in there. And I love to put that over some cucumbers or put it over some salmon or even over some roasted or steamed broccoli cauliflower. You can really put that over anything. It's one of my favorite things to make every single week. So I'm going to be giving you that. And then we can't talk about immune health without talking a little bit about bone broth. So bone broth supports that gulp that I was speaking of, and it also contains N-acetylcysteine, which is a compound found in many bronchitis medications that works as an taking a sip of water. It helps to break up phlegm and mucus in the chest, basically. And so in addition, bone broth is hydrating. It contains vitamins and minerals and collagen and protein as compared to just a regular stock broth. So bone broth versus regular broth, bone broth is cooked much longer, up to 24 hours, 16 to 24 hours you're going to cook the bone broth. And you add an acid like an apple cider vinegar, which helps to leach out the collagen and the minerals and the vitamins from the bones, making it more nutrient dense, higher in protein. If you look at a regular chicken broth at the grocery store that comes in a carton, it's going to say it has about 1 gram of protein per 8 ounces. A bone broth is going to have about 9 grams of protein per 8 ounces. So it costs more, but it costs more because it takes a lot more time and energy, and takes more time and energy to make it. So you want to look for the jiggle when it's cooled. And a couple brands I like to recommend if you don't want to make your own are Bonafide Provisions, the Pacific, or the Epic brand are all really good quality bone broths. And then herbs and adaptogens. This I feel like could be an entire class in and of itself. But fresh organic herbs are a great way to incorporate antiviral and antimicrobial and fungal property cooking. I am not an herbalist, but just to quickly note, astragalus is one of the most vital herbs in the traditional Chinese medicine, and it has immune enhancing effects. And echinacea is been traditionally recommended for the prevention and treatment of a common cold. So I'm not going to go in too much detail, but there's all sorts of teas that are a great way to incorporate these adaptogenic herbs into your regimen. In terms of medicinal mushrooms, reishi and chaga in particular have been studies that have shown the ability to calm an overstimulated immune response. So it regulates the immune system and enhances the reduced immune function, so to speak. And adaptogens in general just have been revealed to be favorable in the effects on mood, anxiety, and just overall well-being. For elderberry has been flying off the shelves at the grocery store, and I'm sure online as well, for all good reasons. It is an immune enhancer, but I think the one thing that I want to share about elderberry is I think it's fine to take elderberry on a regular basis as a way to, boost your immune system and prevent a decrease in your immune function. However, I think it's important to know that you should always talk to your doctor when taking any herbals or anything like that. But elderberry specifically shouldn't be taken for people who have certain autoimmune disorders. So if you have an autoimmune disorder, you want to check with your healthcare provider, and most probably shouldn't be taking elderberry. So that's kind of all I'm going to say on that. As far as the functional mushrooms in your diet, one of the brands that I specifically like is the Laird Superfood. It's like a performance mushroom blend in a powder form. It contains chaga, cordyceps, lion's mane, and maitake, all of which have been researched to support efficacy for various health conditions. So feel free to start reading up on that if you wish. But this is a fun product that you can add and make a tea out of it, or put it into coffee. You can add it to smoothies. I like to take it and mix it with peanut butter or almond butter, and then I make an energy granola bite out of it. So as a pre-post workout snack fuel, it's a great way to add those immune boosting functional mushrooms into the diet that kind of mask the taste of it, because I'm not going to lie, it's a little bit earthy. And if you were to have it as a cup of tea and you're used to a regular sweetened tea, then you probably might not enjoy it. But so those are fun, creative ways that you can add them. A few different recipe ideas here. You can go to the lairdsuperfood.com website and get those recipes. I know it's a little blurry on the screen, but they have a lot of other ways you can add them into stews and different recipes. So have fun looking up recipes of what to do with that. As far as ready to drink products that contain adaptogens, Rebel drink has a variety of different flavor profiles and different health properties to each of those different flavors. They have ashwagandha, astragalus, chaga, maca, reishi, all sorts of different flavor profiles there. They're non-dairy and they're coconut milk based, so they're not low in calories by any means, but it is a way to get those adaptogenic herbs if you ever so wish to incorporate them. And then the Gold Thread tonic drinks are personally one of my favorite beverages. The green mineral one is very tasty, even though it looks funny because it's green, scares people away. And then there's the Japanese matcha one that has that green tea, the matcha in there. The elderberry defense one is very tasty. The ginger one is good. The turmeric one is good. So all of those have a variety of different adaptogenic herbs in them that are fun to try. And then I just want to briefly mention about sugar. Bottom line, eating or drinking too much sugar curbs your immune system cells that attack bacteria. The effects can last a few hours, or even after downing a couple of sugary drinks, it can really last for hours. And the goal is to eliminate or consume less than 24 grams of added sugar per day. You can see here, there's pictures of, on the left-hand side where it says natural sugars 101. Those are natural sugars, sure, but they are still considered added sugar in the diet. So those, just because you add honey or maple syrup to something, that counts towards your added sugar allotment of 24 grams a day. This ingredient list is for a specific brand of granola bars. You can see there's several different types of sugar in that one ingredient or that one product. But natural sugars are, for example, lactose or fructose that naturally occur. Lactose is milk sugar, so anything that contains milk or dairy. And then fructose is the type of sugar that comes from fruit. We do not need to be scared of the fructose or the fruit sugar per se. That does not count towards your added sugar. That's just naturally occurring. It's the flavored yogurt that has the added sugar on top of the naturally occurring lactose in there that is the concern. So choose plain yogurt and go ahead and have a couple servings of fruit a day. Don't be scared about it, but it's the added sugar that we really want to focus on. Everybody could do better at cutting back on the added sugar in the diet. I put this in here just because I wanted to show you what the new nutrition facts label is. There's still a few brands that haven't quite caught up to this new label, but if you see under where it says total carbohydrates, it says dietary fiber, total sugar. It used to say just total sugar, but now they've added in and included added sugar. So for this example here, this really helps to take the guesswork out. If you're looking at a yogurt 5 years ago and you're looking at a yogurt now, you don't have to guess how many are added sugars and how many are naturally occurring. It's going to tell you. It's going to tell you that 10 grams out of the 12 grams of sugar in the entire product is coming from added. That really wouldn't be a very good option to choose. So pay attention to that specific number there. The added sugar is really more of the problem when we're talking about sugar. And then lifestyle practices, hydration, staying well hydrated, drinking half of your body weight in ounces a day at minimum is crucial. So hydrate, drink more, at least half of your fluids before the first half of the day, because if you drink it at the end of the day when you get home from work and you're like, oh no, I haven't really drinking any water today, now I'm going to drink a bunch, and then you go to bed and then you don't sleep because you're up all night in the bathroom, well, that's not good. So sleep is also very important. Adequate sleep, about 8 hours a night, is really what we're shooting for good quality rest. Deep breathing is something we all can work on. I know that it's something that I try to instill in my lifestyle on a daily basis. I find myself going throughout the day talking really fast like I am on this presentation and not taking a moment to really fill up my lungs and exhale out all of my air out of my lungs to really oxygenate my entire body, especially during times of stress. Making sure that you're doing some deep breathing throughout the day naturally reduces stress, which at the end of the day is going to help boost your immune system. And then staying physically active, moving, getting out, getting sunlight, getting as much movement. Sitting is the new smoking. So sitting has just as much detrimental negative effect on your health as does smoking. So if you sit for long periods of time, as soon as we're done with this presentation and you're stand up and move your body. We all can move more. This here is I'm gonna send this along with the email, just as a beautiful depiction of what your plate should look like. So I like that. You'll have a copy of that to have for reference. You'll also have this as a reference. I'm gonna send this to everybody so you have a copy, so you know what sources of foods come from all of those things that I talked about today in terms of immune supporting foods. And I'm going to send you these 3 recipes, 3 of my favorite recipes, kind of more recent recipes that I've been entertaining: sesame ginger broccoli, avocado lime salmon, and a baked salmon burger. And if we weren't in COVID-19 style doing virtual classes, I would be whipping these things up so you could try them. I'm sorry to tease you. I hope all of you had a nice healthy lunch. But these are some amazing recipes that are immune boosting and contain much of the things that I just spoke about. So let's review. We can all drink more water. We all can and we all should. We should eat a variety of colors of fruits and vegetables, mostly non-starchy vegetables. Think nutrient dense, because we all can and we should. And we can up your intake of omega-3 rich foods, pre and probiotic rich foods, because we should and we all can, and we can get some sunshine. We've been having a great deal of some wonderful weather, so hopefully you're getting outside and you're getting some vitamin D. These are all super simple things that we can all focus on every single day. I do have a class coming up tomorrow on stress busting foods, which you can sign up there at dietitians.shoprite.com tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, at 5 o'clock. So thank you very much. My contact information is right there. And I've got some references, but I'll go back here and let's see if I can turn myself back on here for any questions. Let me figure this out.
Hey, Shana, this is Lindsay. We did have a couple questions while you were going over your presentation. The first one was, Christy was wondering if ground ginger had the same nutritional benefit as ginger root.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have the same powerful benefits. It's still going to have some, but not anywhere near as much as it would from fresh.
Could you move a little bit closer? You were a little muted on that.
So I said is that better?
Much better, thank you.
Yeah, so it's still going to have a benefit, but it's not going to have as much of a powerful benefit. So going fresh would be best.
And then we had Kathleen ask, are pecans a good omega-3 as walnuts?
They are not, unfortunately. They have a little bit, but out of all of the nuts, the only nut that actually has a high amount of omega-3 fatty acids is walnuts. Pecans have great benefit in a lot of other facets, but unfortunately, the omega-3 fatty acid content is not very high.
So does anyone else have any questions? This is the time to, oh, here we go. So everyone, if you do have questions, please write them into the chat. We'll convey them to Shana. And then Grace asked us, can we take fruits after meals?
Can you take what?
Fruits after meals?
Can you eat fruit after meal?
The question was, can we take fruits? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Grace, could you clarify a little bit about that question? In the meantime, we have Shirley. She asked, what quantity of the quercetin-rich foods would you need to consume to realize nutritional benefits?
I do have that written down. Let me flip to my... I don't have it memorized, Shirley. So... Oh, so 100 grams of raw capers would be, so just one serving of that would be, which is 2 tablespoons, would be an adequate amount for a daily intake.
So 2 tablespoons of something like capers, which is 100 grams?
Well, it's 100 grams or 234 milligrams, yes.
So I'll put that in the chat. So we have 2 tablespoons or 2 tablespoons or what, 100 milligrams?
Correct.
For daily serving.
Correct. And then here's another interesting fact. So a study found that organically grown tomatoes had 79% more quercetin than conventionally grown tomatoes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So Grace clarified, she asked, should we eat fruits after or before meals?
So that's an interesting question. I know there's a lot of information kind of floating around the internet about separating different foods, but I would say neither here or there. I would say you can have it before, you can have it after, or you can have it, you know, with your meal. Depending on what type of fruit it is, it may actually provide a benefit in terms of having it with your actual meal. So let's say it's, I don't know, orange, for example. You know, you're having an orange. Orange is loaded in vitamin C. So having that with a spinach salad, which has non-heme iron, helps to maximize the absorption of the iron in that food. So I would say go ahead and have your fruit with your meal and not focus so much on should I eat this before or after, but the benefit will be provided by having it.
Great, thank you. One more question. We had Lisa asking, are raw capers different from jarred?
It's essentially the same thing. Yep. Jarred would be what you can go ahead and have.
Okay, any other questions before we disperse for our rest of our day? All right, let's see. Kathleen, I'd like to ask you a question. All right, Kathleen, you should be all set. Should be unmuted. Oh, okay, there you go. Kathleen, did you have a question? Oh, I'm not sure. I guess that she did not have a question. Anything else? Oh, shrimp. How to buy healthy frozen?
How to buy healthy frozen shrimp?
Yep.
I mean, my answer to that would be to choose a wild caught shrimp, or I'm actually really partial to buying the Wholesome Pantry line because I know it's free from a lot of added ingredients or solutions that they would add, like a salt solution to kind of plump it up. So I would say just strictly a wild caught shrimp, and then whether you want it to be deveined or you want it to be raw or with the shell on is perfectly fine. But wild caught, or I know just because I work for it, right, that our Wholesome Pantry line is free from any of the added salt solutions. So you're getting, you know, the weight in which the shrimp should be versus an added salt solution. If that makes sense.
Yep. I actually have a follow-up to that. Is there a difference, or is there a better option between buying U.S. farmed shrimp versus non-U.S. shrimp?
I think the debate is out. Honestly, you can debate it either way. I say go ahead and, you know, buy a wild caught fish, or a wild caught fish in general. But, you know, you can debate it either way. So I say it's really up to the consumer to make that decision.
All right. Any other questions before we end the meeting? Oh, is Wholesome, Kathleen, a follow-up to her shrimp question. Is Wholesome Pantry U.S. farmed?
It is.
So yes on that. Anything else from anyone at all? All right, it looks like everyone's questions have been answered. Thank you again, Shana, for coming out and sharing your presentation and giving us your time today. We really do appreciate it. And everyone enjoyed your presentation.
Thank you, everybody. I wish I could have seen all of your faces on here, but hopefully we will see you at one of the next ones.
Thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thanks.